Hello all, welcome to another session of Management Principles and Application. This is the part 2 of organizational structures. We have already discussed line and staff structures, and today we would be covering the others, including the functional structure in classical management theory, and in the modern management theory there would be three other. So today we are going to discuss about the functional organizations. Now, what are the functional organizations? In this case, actually, if you see, the functional organizations under them, so there are a number of specialists, each having authority over a particular function or a group of related functions throughout the organization. So each specialist has control over the function under his charge, no matter where that function is performed in the organization. He controls all the individuals working in that functional area. Now, for example, the personnel department would recruit, train, and develop people required for all other departments of the organization. So, the functional authority permits a specialist in a given set of activities to enforce his directive within limited and clearly defined scope of authority. Every employee gets orders and is accountable to several specialists. For instance, a foreman is responsible to the maintenance engineers for repairs, or to the inspector for quality of output, to the purchase manager for proper use of materials, and so on. So these functional organizations can be used at higher as well as at lower levels of management. At the higher levels, it involves the grouping of all functions into major functional departments and placing each department under an expert executive. Each functional head issues orders throughout the organization with respect to the function in question. So, for example, the purchase manager will purchase materials required by all the plants. The marketing manager will sell products of all the plants, and the finance manager will supervise financial transactions of all the departments. So, it basically rests upon the specialization. So, in this form of organization structure, it emerges as the organizations grow in size. New departments are added and departmental activities become specialized. Specialization creates sub-departments, and it is no longer remains feasible for top managers to control the activities of all the departments, unlike the line function. Managers become specialized in their tasks and focus on activities related to their departmental tasks for the entire organization. Human resource manager ensures appointment of right people at the right time and place, in determining their wage structure, solving their grievances, framing rules for them, etc. So, does he do it only for the people of human resource department? No. He does that for all the departments across the organization. He looks after activities related to personnel, not only for the human resource department, but production, finance, and marketing department also. So the finance department similarly looks after financial receipts, disbursements, surplus, deficiency of all the departments. Finance manager has authority over people throughout the organization with respect to matters related to finance, and personnel manager can issue orders with respect to matters relating to staffing. Functional authority is the right to give orders in department other than one's own. Now we can see the functional authority in an organization chart. So in this case, both line organization and line and staff organizations can be depicted. So the functional authority exercised by Department of Finance, and similarly authority by, let us say, the general manager marketing. So finance or the production. So this is the production happening, but the finance manager is also seeing that the consumer goods, what are the intermediate goods, what are the producer goods, and so it is taking the inputs also here, right? It is another way to show in a line and staff. The manager of consumer goods receives order not only from general manager, production line manager, but also from general managers of marketing, finance, and personnel. The figure shows authority, functional authority exercised by research and development manager over different functional areas. Similarly, authority can be exercised by accounting manager also. So all the R&D manager is answerable to marketing, finance, and personnel, as well as the accounting manager. Now, features of functional organizations. The organization is divided into functional departments. The specialized knowledge of functional managers is shared by all the functional departments. The organization violates the principle of unity of command since one person gets orders from two or more bosses. So it's unlike line. Then, merits of functional organization. What is the basic advantage of functional organizations? Like we have seen, specialization. Every functional head has authority over activities of the entire organization with respect to his functional area. Finance manager controls financial activities of all the functional areas. He specializes in his area of work, promotes his work skills, and motivates subordinates to perform better. Then can we say that it is economical? And how is that so? So one department, let's say personnel department, looks after staffing needs of all the functional departments. So what happens, because there is specialized knowledge, as well as you are doing it for the entire organization at one place, you are going to have some economies in your, maybe your purchases, or maybe other things. So all departments get their financial needs satisfied by the finance department. This reduces the cost, because if every department looks after its functional needs individually, it will increase the administrative costs. It avoids duplication of resources as they are centralized at the decision making point, and hence it becomes economical for an organization. Then it reduces burden of functional head. Now the functional head has all the responsibility. If there are specialist people and they are taking care of all other things, it wouldn't it be very convenient for the functional head, and he can look into maybe business development or any other thing rather than the internal affairs of the organization only. So every organization head looks after activities of his department only. It relieves them from performing activities of other functional areas, like managing with their departments. Now, for example, in the absence of functional organization, personnel manager will have to look after financial, accounting, research, and other activities of his department, in addition to personnel activities, which shall be an added burden on him. This form of organization structure thus promotes clarity in the organizations, as everyone is clear of his role. Then, coordination. Now, every functional manager looks after activities related to his functional area for all the departments and coordinates work of the organization as a whole. Work related to one set of activities is under complete control of one manager. All decisions, references, instructions come from the point of reference and not necessarily the line managers. Total view of the organization is thus the focus rather than the partial view, and hence every activity looks so coordinated. And then there is uniformity of operations. So there is a lot of uniformity in working of all the departments through functional authority. So let us say if something has to be purchased, so there is a uniform purchase for the all the departments, maybe the stationery, maybe some other usable things. So you do not see that people do not get that discriminating feeling that I do not have such kind of a chair, or though these are very petty things, but everything becomes very uniform in operations when we go by the functional organizations. Control. Coordination and uniformity ensures effective controls as well of the activities of all the functional areas. So, functional heads adopt effective techniques of control for activities related to their areas of expertise. And hence, when because they are specialists, they know how to deal with the situations and what are the critical points, and hence they have a better control on the entire working, whatever is their department. Then we come to the limitations of functional organizations. We could actually see that one person is reporting to many other people. So there is a net of authority and responsibility relationship, and hence there is no unity of command. So in this functional organizations, there is violation of unity of command. So the principle of unity of command is violated in the functional organization as one subordinate is accountable to more than one boss. Subordinates find it difficult to carry out the instructions of more than one boss. While we said that it is a merit of functional organizations that they have a coordination, so the functional head has a coordinated effort, but at the same time it is also a limitation. How does it poses to be a limitation? Let's see. When functional heads focus on their departmental objectives, coordination of different functional areas become a problem. So within his department, it is more coordinated, but the coordination with other functional areas become a little problem. Focus on departmental or functional objectives may not totally contribute to organizational objectives. This can lead to goal displacement. Every functional manager tries to economize on resources related to his area only, and the broader perspective of organization may take a hit. Then accountability. Once there is one person who's accountable to many people, then it becomes a little blurred for the employees who are working there. So no departmental head is completely accountable for the performance of the product. Every functional head partly contributes to the product and cannot be held accountable for its success or failure. It thus becomes difficult to measure the performance of different departments. The ultimate accountability is of the top managers, who may deviate from long run strategic matters to short run operational decisions if there are certain problems that crop up. So, if everything is going fine, then it is okay. But in the functional organization, it would be very difficult to know that who was more responsible for some error or something, because everyone is coming at one platform and contributing from their own specializations. So tracing back their authority and responsibility becomes a difficult task for top manager, and ultimately they are responsible for the success or failure of the operational activities. Complexity of relationships. So in a functional organization, there is a wide gap between person who make the decisions and those who implement them. Who is going to make the decisions? The top management. Who is going to implement them? The functional heads, and that too from their own resources, from their own departments, right? So the principle of unity of command is violated, and the process of communication gets slows down completely. It becomes difficult for the functional head to control activities related to his department single-handedly. So because others also have some say in his own department, like let us say the production department. Now the production department needs certain purchases and the finance department is responsible for it. So there is a quality control department which is responsible for issuing a certificate to him about the quality. Now in that, if he has been given a deadline of 1 month to produce certain amount of units, you can imagine he has to wait for the finance head's permission to purchase the things, then the quality control people to come and check the product, and then only he can seal it. So his work is dependent on so many other departments, and hence he might not be able to finish off his job in time. But because there is the say of other departments. Hence, his responsibility also gets diluted. And who is ultimately responsible now? The top management is ultimately responsible for this delay, because they have to take care, or they have to issue certain guidelines to the finance department, quality control department, and ensure that the production doesn't get delayed because of anybody in other functional departments. So you can see that there is so much complication in relationships between superiors, subordinates, top management. We do not know who's responsible for whom, and hence it becomes difficult. And anyways, functional organizations are large organizations. Hence the control and coordination and everything becomes a challenge here. Then centralization. So, because with increased size of organization and widening gap between superiors and subordinates, the functional organization becomes centralized, where people at lower levels go to the top positions every time they want to get their problem solved. Everything, as I told you, their responsibilities, their accountabilities, their authorities are intermingled. And they are a little confused about whom to approach if they are facing any problem from other functional heads. So they directly approach to the top management, and hence it becomes completely centralized. And with the centralized system, so all the perils of centralization comes in these functional organizations. Then delayed decisions. Since every decision flows from the top decision making process are delayed, differential functional heads view the problem and comment on solutions related to their area, and then everything is compiled and then it reaches the top management. So every time there is something, there is a protocol, or there is a process that has to be followed, that this thing will go into five other departments. This document would be signed by the five departments, and then it would go to top management. You can well imagine how much delay it would lead to. Then inflexibility. Now you can completely understand that when it is so complex a relationship, and there is so many people who are involved in any decision, what will happen? It would become very inflexible. So if an organization needs to take a decision on an urgent basis, still there would be a protocol that would be followed, and hence it would make the organization very inflexible and non-dynamic. So this limitation, they tend to make functional organizations an inflexible structure. Changes cannot be made at the levels where decisions are implemented. It hampers the creativity and innovativeness of managers at the operative level. So the functional organization structure is appropriate for small sized firms which have limited levels in organizational hierarchy. So this was about all the limitations of functional organizations. And let us come to the modern or contemporary organizational formats. The classical formats of organization support division of work, specialization, and departmentation. They ignore the importance of horizontal relationships amongst people. Interrelationships and social values is an important part of task relationships, which cannot be ignored while framing the organization structure. So, while basic design of the organization structure comes from the classical format, modern formats emphasize on a more flexible and environment-friendly structure. The popular forms of contemporary organizational formats reproject organizations, metrics organizations, committee organizations, and networking organizations. So, we have seen that how inflexible our classical structures have been, or classical organizations have been. So there was a need of a hour of certain structures which were a little more dynamic and flexible in nature, and which could actually respond to the environment quickly. So for that, there came the modern or contemporary organizational formats or structure. What are these modern or contemporary organizational formats? The project organizations, the matrix organizations, committee organizations, and networking organizations. Let's come to the project organizations. According to Richard M. Hodgetts, he defines a project organization as the gathering of best available talent to accomplish a specific and complex undertaking within time, cost, and or quality parameters, followed by the disbanding of team upon completion of the undertaking. Now, uh, as the name suggests, the project organization. So, all the resources and everything is coming on the table or a platform, and they would achieve a certain goal. And there would be the specialists or the best of the people that would come in and do the thing. Now, the project organization is structured to accomplish specific projects within specified constraints of time, money, and quality. A bridge, dam, or a flyover are constructed as project organizations. So it is a project, construction of a bridge, or any. So they are like standalone projects. Once the objective is formed, workforce is gathered, and authority responsibility structure is designed by giving the project manager authority over the activities of group members. So, project manager can be the head of a functional department. General manager of production department, for example, can also be the project manager of a particular project. Project organization does not have job titles and formal departments to which employees return after the project is completed. They use their skills, abilities, and experience on the other projects. All the activities are project based. The project teams form, disband, and form again as the work requires. It is a flexible form of organization as there is no departmentalization or organizational hierarchy. Managers are not bosses, but they are facilitators, mentors, and coaches. So, for example, if there is, let us say, uh, there has been an invite to present a research paper in some organization, and your teacher forwards you this. So, and he or she picks up 5 students from your class who are interested in that topic, and you guys come on this platform, research certain things, utilize certain resources of the college, and then are prepared for a research paper to be presented in that conference, or in that particular institution. So this is kind of a project setup which you are setting up yourself in. And once you present the paper, then you come back to your class and you are the students again. So this is you didn't get any badges or any other particular title for that job or the project, but you just came on, you did the work and went back to your classes. The similar way, in the project organizations, people would come in, the specialized would come in, do the project, and would get back to their departments. So this is what is how the project organizations work. Now, the features of project organizations. According to Stewart, a project team should be definable in terms of specific goals, unique and familiar to the existing organization, complex with regard to interdependence of activities, critical as regards to probable gains or losses, and temporary as regards to the need of organization. Now, so there is a specific goal, there is a unique or an unfamiliar to the existing. So there is the specialization that comes in, there is complexity of that project for which the specialists are being roped in, and it is critical because it would give you good gains, and it is temporary that after the project is done, the people would go back again to their department. The merits, focus of attention. The project manager focuses on one project only. Once you are into that project, then you would take care of that project only. And this attention, it ensures successful completion of the project. Then effective control. Project manager lays responsibility of his group members and facilitates feedback and control. Then unity of command. It respects unity of command since group members get instructions from the project manager only. So there are all the advantages of unity of command which are in project organization. Then fast decisions, because it is for that particular project, so there the decisions are going to be really fast. So this structure does not have organizational hierarchy. There are no superiors and subordinates connected by the chain of command. This speeds up the decision making process, and it's a very flexible structure. Whenever you want, you can have the team, they will work for you, and then they'll go back to their departments. So there is no time lag of recruiting people, finding out the quality, how would they do it. You know that they are from your organization, they have been working and proven themselves over a period of time, and hence you can rely upon them. So it is a flexible structure that forms and dissolves as the work requires. It uses specialized knowledge and skills of people working on the project. Communication takes place through lateral relationships and encourages creativity and innovative abilities of people working on the project. The knowledge and resource are used on the projects where they are required. Thus, there is an optimum use of resources. Adaptive to the environment. The organization structure changes to environmental demands as it does not have a permanent structure. Now, limitations of project organization. People who join the project from functional areas retain their jobs, but those who join from outside the organization lose their jobs once the project is completed. So, there is this job insecurity for the project members. Then, complexity of relationships. The project manager and group members do not have well defined relationships with respect to their interdependence. The communication process is therefore comparatively slow. As the project structure is temporary, people cannot identify themselves with the specific departments. Their roles and responsibilities towards each other is not very clear, and also there is lack of commitment and loyalty towards each other. So once you would deroute somebody from the department, would take to the project, so this guy would not be too much committed to this new project. Also, there is changed environment, the people he's working with, he might not adjust to the new people, new environment, and it's a challenge always for the employees. So you have to take into consideration the human behavioral aspect before uprooting them. Also, if you know that every time you can you'll have to go to certain project, and while you are working in your department, you might not be serious in working in the department, because you know that the next day your invite might come to go to some project. So there is a lot of behavioral and complexity in the relationships. Then, small sized organizations. Project managers of small organizations do not have formal authority over the group members. However, they have the responsibility to complete the project. Thus, authority gap, responsibility without commensurate authority, can be harmful if the work environment is not supportive and cordial. They use personal skills like persuasion and negotiations to get the group members to work. A person who does not have informal leadership qualities cannot be successful in a project. So you have to be behaviorally very strong to work in the project organizations. Then we come to the matrix organizations. According to Bartle and Martin, a matrix structure is a type of departmentalization that superimposes a horizontal set of divisional reporting relationships onto a hierarchical functional structure. It is an organizational structure that assigns specialists from different functional departments to work on one or more projects being led by the project managers. So, what is a matrix structure? It is type of departmentalization on the horizontal set of decision reporting. So, matrix organization is a hybrid structure, a combination of functional and pure project structure. Group members of the project are also accountable to their functional heads. Employees are assigned to the project by functional heads till the completion of the projects. So now the employees will have dual accountability in the form of organization structure. To whom? So they are accountable to the functional heads in the vertical chain of command. The functional head is their line superior, and then they are accountable to the project manager who exercise project authority over them. This accountability is shown by horizontal lines in the matrix organization chart. We can see this organization chart. The line authorities are the clear lines, and then these dash lines are the project authority. So a project manager A is actually reporting to GM production, GM finance, GM marketing, and GM personnel. B and C the project managers, so they all are, and then they are reporting to the managing director also. So this is a kind of a matrix organization. So, what are the merits of matrix organizations? The first is decentralization. So, all decisions are taken by functional managers or project managers. Decisions are taken at the point where wherever the problem arises. So, top management can concentrate on the strategic issues to adapt to the environmental needs, while the functional managers or the project managers takes the day-to-day decisions. Then multidisciplinary cooperation. So people from different departments work together, understand each other's responsibilities, and cooperate with each other. So in case they do cooperate and coordinate, then it creates a congenial work environment which is very conducive to the output of the organization. Then coordination. Since people from different departments work as a team under the project manager, there is a well coordinated effort for the project objective. Motivation. People informally communicate with each other and work till completion of the project. Employees are not placed according to their ranks as they are placed in the traditional organizational hierarchy. An employee, for example, who is ninth in hierarchy in traditional form of organization may be placed at number 2 or 3 in the project design according to his knowledge and expertise. So in that case, it would increase his motivation and boost his morale, and he would look forward to work in the project. Then control. Since project manager concentrates on a single project, there is a better planning and control over project activities. He exercises authority of competence and knowledge rather than authority of position. This develops the potential of project manager and team members to maximize contribution to the project. Then efficient utilization of resources. So there is optimum utilization of resources since they are shared by functional and project managers. Each project manager focuses on a single project and use resources to complete the project deadlines within the quantity and quality constraints. So in case of matrix organizations, where are the resources, and people are specialized, they have gone to the specific place, and hence it would ensure the efficient utilization of resources. Then limitations, dual accountability. Now it is going to create a bit of confusion if the accountability is not stemming out of one place. So since every employee is accountable to functional manager and project manager, the principle of unity of command is completely violated. This can create confusion in the organization. Focus on interpersonal relationships. Working together on a project can promote personal relationships of the employees at the cost of efficient and timely completion of the project. Organizational relationships become more complex if informal relationships develop excessively along with formal relationships. So if people are working together, they are bound to have the networks, and these social networks can pose an impediment in the effective utilization of resources and efficient achievement of the goals. The problem of coordination. Both vertical and horizontal managers, the coordination generally cannot be achieved simultaneously. Project and functional managers have to communicate regularly, coordinate work demands on employees, and resolve conflicts to work effectively. Inter-project conflict. So when there are multiple projects running in, then it might lead to inter-project conflict. uh, each project manager will try to own maximum share of resources from different functional departments. This can create conflict among project managers and members of different projects, as they want maximum share of organizational resources. Something like, let's say, the finance department is, has to issue certain maybe um, some kind of the approvals, right? So there are 5 projects running in. Every project manager would want that his approval, should be approved first, so that he can go on with his project. So everyone will accept the functional department to do their work first, tap most of the resources of that functional, the department, and hence it may lead to the project conflicts. The conflict between functional managers and project managers. Now, not only project managers, even the functional managers compete for limited organizational resources. This can result in a power struggle. Managers strive to maximize their power to derive maximum benefit out of the resources. Top managers intervene to reduce power struggle among people, as it can result in counterproductive activities. So not only that, all the project managers would like to have more resources, so these functional managers may also choose, because to have to do more projects, because this increases their efficiency and shows that, it improves their performance appraisals. So in that case, there can be power tussle, and top management has to be really vigilant about minimizing these power struggles. Now, the difference between pure project organization and metrics organization. Now, pure project organization is an independent organizational structure, whereas metrics organization is a combination of pure and functional organizational structure. In this case, resources are exclusively allotted to the organization for completion of project, whereas they have shared resources among project managers and functional heads. Pure project organization is suitable structure for large size projects like construction of dams, bridges, railway lines, etc. Whereas metrics organization is suitable structure for small size projects like advertisement campaigns, research projects, etc. Then pure project organizations, in these the project employees are accountable to the project manager only. But in case of pure project, in case of matrix organizations, project employees are accountable to project managers as well as functional managers. So there is a violation of unity of command, and there can be a little confusion as well. So this was the difference between the pure project organization and matrix organizations. We'll do the rest of the organizational structures in the upcoming session. Thank you so much for listening.